Hello, this is Peter Baur, head of school at Faith Christian School. As we entered the Thanksgiving season, I was reminded of a story. My younger brother Andrew, from a very early age, dreamt that he was living in a grass hut. Those early dreams turned into what he believed was a call to the mission field as he grew into a young adult. After college, he decided that he was going to pursue that call and made some inquiries to a number of different mission organizations. At each one, he was turned down, and he was turned down for a very specific reason. You see, my younger brother Andrew had developed type 1 diabetes when he was 3 years old, and the mission fields, the mission organizations were uncomfortable sending a young man with type 1 diabetes to the mission fields. Frustrated, but also determined, my younger brother caught up with a good friend of ours who's familiar with world missions. And he asked that friend if he knew of any ways that he could get to the mission field because he felt so strongly that that was his calling. This friend recommended to my younger brother Andrew that he become a medical doctor because he believed that if Andrew became a medical doctor, the mission agencies wouldn't be able to turn him away. So my brother pursued an MD degree, and during that time, as he considered where he might go to the mission field, he also inquired of our friend who was familiar with missions where the last frontier was. And our friend told him that he thought the last frontier was in the jungles of Papua New Guinea. So my younger brother, with early dreams of sleeping in a grass hut, decided to take a rotation during his medical school years in Papua New Guinea. So he traveled to Papua New Guinea, but prior to going, he said he made a deal with God. And he said that deal with God was that if God wanted him to be a missionary in Papua New Guinea, my younger brother would not go into diabetic shock during his rotation there, and he would not get an infection. As many of you might know, an infection, particularly in areas like the feet, can be problematic. So my younger brother Andrew went to Papua New Guinea on a rotation, and early on in his time there, he was riding up a river in a dugout canoe back in the jungles of Papua New Guinea, and he felt himself going into diabetic shock. At that very moment, they pulled into the village that they were visiting or planned to visit, and they were greeted by the villagers with pure sugarcane, pure raw sugarcane. And for those of you who are familiar with diabetes, getting raw sugarcane at a time when you're feeling as though you're going into diabetic shock was a perfect antidote. Later in Andrew's rotation, he also got an infection in his feet. His feet were too close to the fire, and because of the neuropathy, he didn't realize it and got an infection in his foot. So after Andrew's rotation, he returned home, and part of his testimony is that the very things that he feared, God showed him that he would take care of him during those times. And as I'm thinking about Thanksgiving and the things that I'm thankful for, I'm thankful that we have a God who, even when things don't seem to go as we would like them to, or are hard, or we make bargains with God, and in those times God shows us that even though things may not be easy, He cares for us. And this seems particularly true as we have faced a number of situations involving COVID with some of our employees, some of our students and staff. And God hasn't taken COVID away, but He has certainly shown to us here at Faith Christian School that He cares for us. So with that, happy Thanksgiving, and remember that God does care for you, and we are all thankful for that. Happy Thanksgiving.